Hello everyone, back to you in today's video. So we're going to do the USA forecast today's video, as was on a Wednesday. You have a look at the weather for the next 10 to 14 days. The United States will extend out beyond that. We extended CFSB2, so that will take us through the next 4 weeks and into like the middle of November now, I suppose. So I shall get on that for you very shortly, just to say that coming up later on, we're going to be live streaming from 6 o'clock. We're going to have our Wednesday evening live stream. And we'll be live streaming the 10 to 14 day update for the UK and for Northern Europe as well. It will include all of regular features that we'd have in a typical 10 to 14 day video upload. The only difference is that it will be live streamed, and that's going to be coming up from 6 o'clock this evening. We'll be taking questions and so on, and just generally having a good time for an hour between 6 and 7 o'clock. So I shall see you live from 6 o'clock. But before that, of course, got the USA forecast to do. These USA forecasts are YouTube exclusives, so you will need to be subscribed to the GWV's YouTube channel and click all notifications, and you'll be notified by YouTube when we are releasing these videos. Thank you so much, everybody, for doing that. Right, let's do this then. So we're going to start off in the tropical Atlantic. We've got another hurricane in this extraordinary hurricane tropical storm season. So this now is Hurricane Epsilon. Hurricane Epsilon is currently giving maximum sustained winds of 85 miles per hour. Means it's category 1 hurricane with a minimum central pressure. Whoops, it's just updated. Just refreshed as we're speaking. So it's currently giving maximum sustained winds of 85 miles per hour, making it a category 1 hurricane with a minimum central pressure of 976 millibars. Moving west-northwestwards at 12 miles per hour, 14 miles per hour, I should say 12 knots. Clicking on Epsilon and going through here, we can see this is forecast to remain as a hurricane and getting very close to Bermuda on Friday. So that's the current position of Epsilon, just there, going to move like in that direction. So very, very close to Bermuda as we go through to Friday, and then sort of curving in that direction, so that by early next week it's out into the middle of the North Atlantic and is a post is going to a post hurricane then. Moving back to here, let's have a look at the discussion page. And so this is forecast to remain as a category 1 hurricane with maximum sustained winds of 90 miles per hour over the next couple of days. So if it powers up too much more, then it could become category 2. But at the moment, it looks like it is forecast to remain as a category 1 hurricane. And the key points with this is that it's going to give tropical storm conditions possible for Bermuda on Thursday, when Epsilon is forecast to make its closest approach east of the island as a hurricane. So they get a glancing blow from this, by the look of it. Dangerous, point number 2. Its dangerous surf and rip currents are likely occurring along the coast of Bermuda, the Bahamas, the Greater Antilles and the Leeward Islands. These conditions are expected to spread to portions of the east coast of the United States and Atlantic Canada during the next couple of days. So obviously, like the main impacts from a hurricane are like within the centre of the hurricane and the around the circulation of a depression, but more widely there are big impacts for the wider ocean. And although this is never going to get anywhere near to the east coast of the United States, there is going to be dangerous surf and rip currents in the Atlantic Ocean on the east coast of the United States later on in the week from Hurricane Epsilon. So yeah, another hurricane in the Atlantic. This is how the latest wind flow map is looking from earthnullschool.net. So it shows up Epsilon very, very nicely. This massive circulation. You see the eye of the hurricane there right in the middle. Let's zoom in and go right down into Epsilon. Look at this. You can see how dramatic this is going to be looking. Wow, look at that. Real, real intense circulation there from Hurricane Epsilon. You can see how the winds rotate around the eye of hurricane. And it's just a Category 1 hurricane as well, but it just shows how even a Category 1 hurricane is very, very powerful. So you can imagine how a Category 5 hurricane, how powerful a Category 5 hurricane is. Let's have a look at the GFS well, see what that's forecasting Epsilon to do. So the current position of Epsilon is just there, and we'll run through and see how the GFS is handling this. So moving northwards over the next few days into the weekend, going past the Bahamas and heading up towards sort of Nova Scotia and that kind of area. And then, of course, becomes a post-tropical thing and just area of low pressure, and heads off up towards Greenland and Iceland as a deep area of low pressure at 938 millibars. The UK and Ireland could well have impacts from Epsilon, Hurricane Epsilon. Next week. Now, going down into tropical Atlantic, then things become quieter by the look of it, although there is quite a significant circulation around Mexico just here, but it looks like things generally become a little bit quieter in the wake of Epsilon through the tropical Atlantic. Let's see if we see any more areas of low pressure developing. So yeah, it's a little bit quieter again next week. We have got something developing there. We're quite a long way out now, 294 hours. Got something developing down there in around the Leeward Islands and that sort of area, or the Windward Islands. But generally things look like they're quieting down. There's another little feature that's getting going here. So that could be like a tropical storm or something just there. But overall it looks like things go a little bit quieter next week, although right by the end of the GFS, so this is as far as we go, 384 hours, which is 6th of November. We've then got sort of 3 features churning away. So we've got one just here, we've got one just there, and we have one in the Gulf of Mexico as well. So even though that's into November, it's very late in the hurricane season, of course, by then. The GFS is still trying to get these features going through the tropical Atlantic and the Gulf of Mexico, even into early November, which would, again, because it's been a very big season, we've still got, and what's caused this very big hurricane season is the warm tropical Atlantic that we have had with sea surface temperatures. So because that continues, then we could get some, late tropical storm or hurricanes even into November this year, because it has been a very active season. Now, the big story for the USA, though, so coming back to the USA, that's probably everybody update what's going on with tropics. Coming back to USA, the big story is going to be a big cool down coming up for northern parts of America as we go into the weekend and next week. These are the 500 millibar height and flow charts from Penn State University. For the next week to 10 days, we've got the ECMWF on the left and the GFS is on the right. So look at this. You can see this big trough of low pressure that's digging into the north of America with a northwest southeast alignment to a jet stream. That's going to pull very cold air in from Canada to particularly the Midwest, I think, but eventually by day 10 might even spread over towards the eastern side. There's a ridge in the northwest. We've got this ridge around the northwestern Pacific coast of Canada that's sending a jet stream on this northwest southeast alignment. There is a ridge in the southeast as well. That brings pretty warm air towards the southeast and possibly up the east coast until this trough pushes through. The GFS is very similar. Again, there's the ridge out towards the Pacific Northwest. That's sending the jet stream on a northwest-southeast alignment and pulls down this trough of low pressure through the Midwest and into the northeast. That will bring cold air in from Canada into northern parts of America as we go through into days 5 to 10. There is going to be a ridge down in the southeast that could keep eastern coastal areas a good deal warmer until that trough eventually pushes through and pulls the cold air in from Canada. These are the upper air temperature precipitation ensembles from the GFS model at Columbus in Ohio today. So the red line is the 30-year upper air temperature average for Columbus, significantly warmer than average today and for the next 2 or 3 days. After that, we get this drop in the temperature towards the weekend, and then next week going cold, a proper plunge. Look at that, real plunging temperatures taking place as we go through into next week. The last days of October, Halloween, for example, could be very, very cold. Into early November, election period, of course, looking generally on the chilly side then. So a proper old drop in temperature to come over the next week or so. Precipitation for Columbus, so we've got rain to come today, then a couple of drier days, and then turning more and south again as the temperature does this plummet. That's because there's a trough of low pressure that's digging in from Canada and pulling down the temperature. Temperature anomalies from the 21st to 29th of October look like that. Very cold in the north, and this cold air is plunging into the Midwest eventually as well, although the east looks warmer from the 21st to 29th of October. Much warmer up the eastern side, but these cold temperatures, and they are very cold up towards the north, will be plunging in from Canada, and eventually I think we'll see that spreading eastwards as we go into the closing days of October probably. Precipitation anomalies, and out in the west, of course, it remains a little bit on the warmer side in the west and the southwest. Although not excessively so, not as hot as it has been by any means. Precipitation anomalies from the 21st to 29th of October going to be dry on average on the western side of America. That's where we've got the ridge, of course, extending all the way up to the Pacific Northwest. Going further eastwards, though, through many states, actually looking rather unsettled. Of course, we've got the above average precipitation here across these northern parts of America. As the cold air is digging in, quite a bit of that precipitation is likely to be snow across northern parts of America, dry on the east coast and down into the southeast. This is how the GFA is looking for today then. So pretty warm up the eastern side today. Got warm winds blowing from the south up the east side. Trough low pressure up towards the north and back in towards Canada is indicative. It's warning of what is on the way. Really, upper air temperatures look like that. Generally, it's quite warm still across most parts of the states today. So hot down in the southwest, of course. Pretty warm up this east side. But in the far north, you see the cold air is lurking there up in towards Canada and just beginning to dig into the extreme northern states. So over the next couple of days, we're going to find a trough of low pressure digging in from the north. This is Friday. Got a deep trough of low pressure digging in from the north and starting to push those colder winds from the north eastwards. And that continues into the weekend as well. So this is Saturday. There's a ridge out in the northwest that's sending in this northerly wind from Canada through the central and eventually will get into the midwestern states. But the eastern states are actually looking a good deal warmer with this ridge of high pressure over in the east. There's the upper air temperature. See how those cold upper air temperatures from Canada are digging in from the north, increasingly so, looking very cold then. Heading on in towards the rest of the weekend and the early part of next week. Again, we've got this ridge out towards the northwest that's sending the jet stream on this northwest-southeast line and is pulling in the cold air from Canada into the north, and that will be attempting anyway to progress into towards the midwest. Look at the upper air temperatures. Yeah, we've got very cold upper air temperatures digging a long way southwards. Actually, the -5 Celsius ice firm, even -10 Celsius ice firm is getting very close to Texas. That actually is digging into the northern part of the state of Texas. So through these central states, a real cold plunge and extremely cold across those northern states. Obviously cold enough for heavy snow through there. Further eastwards though, it is still pretty warm in the east and in the southeast. It's much cooler as well out in the west, except on the Pacific coast of California and those sort of areas. Moving through the course of next week, we find this ridge eventually transferring eastwards and taking those cooler upper air temperatures with them, and then temperature begins to stage a recovery. So you see how the -5, -10 Celsius ice firm then starts to pull back towards Canada by the middle of next week. This is Wednesday, 28th of October. Those very cold upper air temperatures are receding back to Canada as things begin to lift up with the temperature through those central and midwestern states, but not before another cold plunge perhaps comes in from the north in towards the far north and northeast. This is Friday 30th of October. Again, another northerly shock there in the extreme northeast of Canada. All the time we've got this ridge out through the central western states, keeps things a good deal drier there, but heavy rain is likely in the east on an active cold front, and behind that into the northeast there could come some snow. Again, you see temperatures plummeting in the northeast through the midwest in towards the northeastern coast. Temperatures doing a little bit of a plummet there looks warmer out in the west. Again, we've got that northwest southeast alignment to the jet stream. Moving up towards day 10, which is Saturday the 31st of October, Halloween, but we then get this ridge building within that cold air, so it will settle down, but it will be cold in the east and in the northeast too, with a risk of some quite significant widespread overnight frost. In more extended range, the ridge then drifts over towards the eastern side of America out into the Atlantic, so it begins to become milder for a time. But as we come towards the end of the GFS front, actually we're back to square one again. Ridge back into the northwest, up towards the west coast of Canada and northwestern Pacific coast of America. Again, sending that jet stream on a northwest southeast alignment through the states, and another trough of low pressure is digging in from Canada into the north to northeast. That's bringing another shot of cold northerly winds in from Canada as we go up to the end of the GFS run Friday the 6th of October. Yes, we've got cold air digging in from Canada across many of these northern states. So it looks like we're getting a pattern of repeated sort of northerly shots into the north, and occasionally those northerly shots will make their way over towards the eastern and northeastern coast of the states as well. All the time, the west is under high pressure and looking a good deal drier through there. This is how the ECM is looking again today. Most parts of the states looking pretty mild today, but then we go through into the weekend, and that's when we start pulling those cold winds from the north. That Saturday again, we see those cold winds digging in through the central states as we go through into Saturday. Upper air temperatures over the weekend look like that, so cold air is digging into the northern parts of states, but the east actually looks pretty warm, and down in the southwest it is a lot warmer through there as well. Then we move on into the early part of next week, and we start to push that colder air in towards the Midwest potentially. Again, there's the upper air temperatures for Tuesday. You see how that cold plunge of upper air temperatures is gradually spreading eastwards, moving towards the Midwest. But the eastern side of America is looking quite a lot warmer there still. So still pulling up those warm southerly winds on the east coast. Out in the west, on the west coast, actually, it does become a lot cooler through the early part of next week. A big cool down coming up for the west coast as well for a while through the early part of next week. Then the latter part of next week, we'll see temperatures beginning to recover as those very cold upper air temperatures recede back to Canada. Once again, we'll see the temperature beginning to lift up before perhaps another northerly plunge coming in by day 10, Saturday 31st of October, Halloween. Again, see potentially another northerly plunge coming from Canada in towards the far northern states of America, and possibly progressing in towards the Midwest, and maybe over towards the northeastern coast as well. So repeated northerly shots really in the next couple of weeks. Right, CFSV2 finally, so these are 500 millibar heights breaking down to week periods. The first week period takes from the 20th, 26th of October. Coming week has the ridge out towards the northwest, another ridge over on the east coast. So we've got this trough of low pressure digging in from Canada into the north. That brings the cold air down into the north, with jet stream doing something a little bit like that. Week 2 is looking like this. Let's change the colour, shall we? So again, we've got this ridge down in the south, and it extends back in towards the northwest as well, with a trough plunging into the northeastern states. With that trough comes a northwest southeast alignment to the jet stream, and of course we pull cold air out of Canada in towards the northeast and potentially the east coast of America there from the 27th of October to the 2nd of November. Week 3 is the 3rd to the 9th of November, with a ridge then off the east coast of America. That brings warmer air back up from the south again. Potentially another ridge is out to the west in the northwest. In between, there's probably going to be some sort of trough through here, so jet stream could be doing something a little bit like that perhaps in week 3. And then week 4 is going to be the 10th to the 16th of November, just generally then building a ridge across many of these central and northern states. Jet stream is going northwards with that, so that should be a drier and milder week, I would have thought, through many parts of the states. Temperature anomalies for week 1 from the 26th of October. Very cold across these northern states and back up towards Canada. Southern and eastern states, and in the northeast too, generally milder than average. Week 2 is the 27th of October, 2nd of November. Again, very cold in the north and to the northwest, and also spread towards the northeast as well. these eastern and southeastern states, though, the ridge just fending off that cold northerly plunge for these east and southeast states. So the CFS wants to maintain those warm temperature anomalies across the south and the east, with the cold temperatures in the north and in the northwest. And then the third, week 3, the 3rd to the 9th of November, just generally mild on average through many parts of states from west coast to the east coast. And that continues into week 4 as well, which is the 10th to 16th of November. Again, looking generally mild on average from the west coast over to the east coast. Precipitation, finally, looking like this. So it's the 20th, 26th of October. Above average precipitation for northern states. And of course, with cold air digging in from Canada, again, there will be snow in these northern states. So it's unsettled and snowy up there. Northwest is drier than average. Many of these southern states are also dry. The southeast part of America is wet, and the northeast is dry. So very variable from area to area, but I think the most dramatic area is going to be this northern part of America, where it is going to be very cold, and so the above average precipitation is likely, a lot of that, to be falling snow, particularly in upland and sort of mountainous areas, but also even down to low levels. I think the cold, the cold is significant enough to produce snow even to low levels for those northern parts of America. Week 2, the 27th of October, 2nd of November, is then dry in the north and the northwest, dry in the east and the southeast, a little bit more unsettled through the Midwest. Week 3, it's going to be the 3rd to the 9th of November. Wet at the eastern side. I wonder if that could be a bit tropical storm or hurricane related, something getting quite close to the eastern seaboard. Maybe. It looks like it sort of extends down to like the Caribbean, so down here, and then there's Florida. So it looks like generally from the Caribbean up the eastern coast, it's wet and average. That might be some sort of hurricane or tropical storm that the CFS is picking up on there through the early part of November. Most other areas, though, are going to be dry from the Midwest over towards West Coast, generally looking dry. This is a lecture period, of course, so if there is an impact from, like, a hurricane or something on the East Coast, that might play a part in the election on the 3rd of November. And then we've got week 4, which is the 10th to the 16th of November, generally looking dry but average through most parts of America from the 10th through to 16th of November as high pressure takes over. Right then, so that's it. So repeated northerly shots, I think, the story, most parts of states over the next week or two. And as each one of these successive northerly shots comes through, of course, because we're in a cooling time every year in the northern hemisphere, as each one of these successive northerly shots comes through, they probably get more and more potent. So there is going to be a risk of snow in the north, and possibly by day 10, even getting towards the northeast. But we're seeing generally the eastern side looks warmer, the seaboard looks warmer, and there will be quite a significant cool down for the west as well. Even places like California and Arizona, where it's typically been very, very hot. Going to be a big cool down there early next week before the temperature then lifts up later next week. And yes, so repeating northerly shots for story, most parts of America. Of course, the wider scenario, the wider storyline is with the tropical storm and hurricane season. Although we are now getting very late on in this tropical storm hurricane season, we already see it from Epsilon, but it is not too early to get significant storms still in the tropical Atlantic in this kind of very big season. And so early November, we may see more storms and developments in the tropics and in the Gulf of Mexico and the Caribbean, and we need to keep a very close eye on that. Right, so that's the USA forecast this week. We'll do it all over again next week. If you have enjoyed this USA forecast, then please give us a like on the video. Let us know in the comments what you think. Make sure you subscribe to the Weather This YouTube channel. Click all notifications and you will be notified when we release a USA forecast every Wednesday. We'll be back at 6 o'clock this evening, live streaming the 10 to 14 day update for the UK and also for Europe as well. So come back this evening at 6 o'clock and I shall see you live at 6. That's all for now, though, and thanks for watching.